Don't miss a moment of this revealing hour on the next Montel.
Tonight, from the tsunami zone, new challenges for relief teams racing help to victims before it's too late. Everything from war to politics is in the way. Plus, they called this place Shangri-La. We'll show you the beauty that was, and now the horror that is.
Also tonight, why Andrea Yates' conviction for drowning her children was overturned and how a television show figured in the decision. We'll give you the inside story. Plus, a mess of winter weather causing all kinds of trouble all across the country.
This is the CBS Evening News, with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Sri Lanka and John Roberts in New York.
Good evening. We're on the southern tip of Sri Lanka tonight in the port city of Galle. Until recently, this was a garden spot and playground for vacationers from all over the world. Then the tsunami came and killed more than 30,000 people in this island nation. Today, UN Secretary General Kofi Annan said we will never know for sure how many people died in the tsunami zone December 26th. Annan, Secretary of State Colin Powell, and other world leaders held an emergency summit in Jakarta, Indonesia today about getting help to survivors whose lives are still at risk. Much of the aid now reaching them is being delivered by U.S. military helicopters at a cost of $6 million a day. But CBS's Lee Cowan in Indonesia reports the American relief effort still has its critics.
It was supposed to be welcome news. The Pentagon more than doubling the number of much-needed helicopters in the region from 40 to about 90, the largest such mission in history. But one UN official complained that the U.S. military's effort isn't enough, that the quick trips, like the one we flew off the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln, spend too little time on the ground to accurately assess the situation. Pilots say it's a matter of safety. Hungry crowds often rush the choppers with blades still spinning. And they point out injured survivors have already waited long enough to be transported to a medical facility. Even the head of the World Health Organization told us he seemed more than pleased with the effort so far.
If this can be sustained for another 6 months, and 1 year later, it will be just a totally different situation.
Still, the squabble illustrates the coordination difficulties of an effort so huge and the frustration of not being able to help more people faster.
But it's more than just logistics that's hampering the relief effort now. It seems that even a tsunami hasn't been able to dampen the tensions from years of civil war here. And now anti-government separatists are starting to make it known that they have a case too.
Muslim separatists have been fighting for their independence from the Indonesian government here for 3 decades now. And despite the disaster, the fighting continues. Relief agencies say one aid convoy was held up for 8 hours because of the shooting. Separatists also fired on these Indonesian troops while they were trying to take supplies across a river. Turns out the weapons used against them were their own. The rebels had stolen them from the rubble of a nearby army base flattened by the waves. Today, government troops wasted little time making sure there was nothing left for the rebels to pick through. But it was another sign of the troubles that haunt this region. It could be barriers to all the good intentions in the world. Lee Cowan, CBS News, Banda Aceh, Indonesia.
A U.S. Navy spokesman said today that helicopter crews operating in the Indonesian tsunami zone are keeping a wary eye on one relief camp run by an Islamic militant group linked to al-Qaeda. The camp, staffed by about 200 members of the group, is set up near the provincial capital of Banda Aceh. So far, there's been no trouble. Like Indonesia, Sri Lanka has been torn by decades of civil war. A U.S. congressional delegation was here today to inspect tsunami damage and camps for the homeless. But in remote areas, CBS's Alan Pizzi reports countless Sri Lankans who lost everything to the giant waves are on their own.
The sea is still giving up its victims as all along the more than 500 miles of Sri Lanka's battered coast, the living struggle to stay alive until aid makes its way to them. But reaching the most remote areas presents challenges not even huge promises of money can buy. Flooded roads, broken bridges, devastated villages. The scale of the difficulties is why so much aid money is being sought and promised. Those who hold the key to the cash see the success stories. Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist got a first-hand view of a well-run refugee camp today.
For me as a physician to be able to see individual patients getting absolutely the very best care possible by volunteers who are giving so unselfishly is truly gratifying.
That's been the case in every aspect of the operation here, local people taking the lead while the international operation got into gear.
The flow of big aid into the country is going well, relief agencies say. As one senior official put it, on a scale of 1 to 10, this operation is a 7 or an 8. But those waiting for the aid have a less rosy view.
The most pressing need for many is clean water. Communal wells are polluted with mud and salt from the tsunami. The evidence of international help is all around, but there's still a lot to be done. Sri Lankans are starting to blame their government.
They say everything. They say, oh, we do that, we do this, we do that. Nothing at the end.
So there's no aid has come, no big aid from the government?
No, nothing.
People here are well aware of how much the world is offering them and are beginning to clamor for their share. Patience, like many other things here, is in short supply. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Ragazzalia, Sri Lanka.
This part of Sri Lanka has long been a favored vacation spot, especially for sun-seeking Europeans. Because there are so many pictures of it before the waves hit, we can show you vividly the destructive power of the Great Tsunami. It's hard to appreciate what the rubble that is now the city of Galle means unless you know what it was just a few short days ago. An exotic resort for vacationers from all over the world. They packed the hotels lining the pristine beaches, and they spent money, making Galle the heart of the Sri Lankan tourist economy. This place, Unawatuna, is called one of the world's 7 most beautiful beaches by the local tourist board. It's lined with hotels and restaurants that normally, on a day like this, would be filled with tourists. Instead, what you see now are shells of buildings, reduced to crumpled wood and concrete. It's now a beach of broken dreams. Even Galle's city center has been practically destroyed. Garbage now rots in the streets of the main business district. Water lines cracked open on the sidewalk are a breeding ground for disease. The local bank is now an aid center, where the senior manager directs the volunteers.
Bank completely demolished by the flood water, the sea water.
Despite all the destruction, the governor of this province, at his hilltop residence overlooking the city, is optimistic.
This is actually the area that you are in now is a tourist area.
And you think that tourist business will come back as early as October?
Yeah, it has happened in the past.
To come back at all, much less that soon, is a challenge. From the air, you can see the massive scope of the damage. Miles of beachfront hotels that used to employ thousands, nearly destroyed. On the ground, hotels with idyllic names like Shangri-La and Seabreeze, almost obliterated. This is what's left of paradise. Amid all the turmoil caused by those waves of mass destruction, there is still much natural beauty in Galle, a reminder of what made this place such a world-class draw for visitors, and what it may be, could be, again. Why did this horror happen? I'll be back later in the broadcast with the search for answers to that question. Right now, John Roberts in New York with more of the day's news. John?
Thanks, Dan, and good evening from New York. The battle for Iraq claimed the lives of 9 more American troops today. 7 U.S. Army soldiers killed by a roadside bomb in Baghdad and 2 Marines killed in fighting west of the capital. The military says the soldiers were on nighttime patrol in a Bradley fighting vehicle. The powerful bomb wrecked the armored Bradley, killing everyone inside. The U.S. Senate today opened confirmation hearings for President Bush's nominee to be the next Attorney General, and he faced some tough questions and criticism. Bill Plant reports the issue isn't what Alberto Gonzales wants to do in the new job. It's legal advice he gave the president in the past.
The president's nominee faced a blistering attack today for his legal advice to the president on the treatment of terror suspects, which he tried to head off at the outset.
Contrary to reports, I consider the Geneva Conventions neither obsolete nor quaint.
But obsolete and quaint are precisely the words he used in this January 2002 memo to the president, in which he argued that the Geneva Convention did not apply to the Taliban and al-Qaeda. He also signed off on this August 2002 memo, broadly defining torture and claiming that the president has the power to order it despite the law, a policy redefined just last week.
You approve of torture?
Absolutely not, Senator.
Democrats weren't convinced and accused Gonzales of opening the door that led to torture at Abu Ghraib.
The administration, and you're the point person on the administration, has not been forthcoming on the whole issues of torture.
Republicans shot back that dangerous times required aggressive laws.
Is there anyone here today who would fail to use every legal means to collect intelligence from terrorists in order to protect American lives?
Gonzales said he was personally sickened and outraged by the abuse shown in the photos, but that he couldn't offer a legal opinion without prejudicing future cases.
Pure malarkey. So we're looking for candor, old buddy. We're looking for you when we ask you a question to give us an answer that you haven't done yet.
Both sides praised Gonzales' up-from-poverty resume, but Democrats left the nominee with this warning.
When the Attorney General of the United States has to enforce the law, and he can't be worried about friends or colleagues at the White House. His duty is to all Americans.
Gonzales says he understands that. Congress will certainly confirm him because he's the president's confidant and because it's not a lifetime job. Democrats' objections are simply setting the stage in case Gonzales is one day nominated to the Supreme Court. John?
Bill Plant reporting live from the White House for us tonight. Bill, thanks. Coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, 5 children drowned by their mother. Today, Andrea Yates' murder conviction was overturned. Why? We'll give you the inside story. Later, God and the tsunami, how religious leaders are answering the question, why did it happen? But first, Dan Rather with this note.
CBS News honors fallen heroes. Steve Hattemer, fun-loving, athletic, enjoyed spending time with his family and made a great chocolate cake. Very religious, he led Bible studies for soldiers and was a kind of father figure. At 43, he'd never seen combat and was set to retire from the reserves when he was sent to Iraq. He was killed by a mortar. Christmas Day, 2003.
Cholesterol. It comes grilled, fried, slow-cooked, twice-baked, poached, and pureed. But it also comes from Mom, Dad, Grandma Ethel, and Grandpa Sam. Your cholesterol doesn't just come from food. It also has a lot to do with family history. Today, there's Vytorin. When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Vytorin can help. Vytorin is a new product that treats the 2 sources of cholesterol. Cholesterol from food and the cholesterol your body makes naturally based on family history. Vytorin lowers bad cholesterol 45 to 60%. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Unexplained muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Vytorin may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Ask your doctor about new Vytorin. Your cholesterol comes from 2 sources. Treat them both with Vytorin.
For a kitchen so clean it sparkles, use new Formula 409. 409's deep cleansing formula strips away impurities for a brilliant clean. Let your kitchen shine with Formula 409.
I swim, I jog, I love junk food. Sometimes even I get constipation.
X-Lax gives you gentle relief, regular for a little help, and maximum strength too. X-Lax for regular people who sometimes aren't.
Sore throat pain. It's hard to work, hard to think. No time for ordinary drops. End your sore throat emergency fast with the strongest Cepacol lozenges ever. Cepacol numbs sore throat pain fast with Menthocaine action. Menthocaine, 2 anesthetics for fast relief. So effective it's #1 in hospitals.
The pain is gone.
And try new Cepacol dual action spray. Numbs pain on contact, coats your throat for comfort. Cepacol ends your sore throat emergency.
Honey, great anniversary surprise.
Yeah, I might put it on the credit card.
Those rates are brutal.
No worries. I'll switch to the new Capital One Prime Lock card.
Introducing the new Capital One Prime Lock card. It's set at prime so you never have to worry about your interest rate again.
What's in your wallet?
It was a murder case that drew headlines around the world and put a spotlight on a severe form of depression afflicting some new mothers. Today, an appeals court threw out the murder conviction of Andrea Yates, the Texas woman who drowned all 5 of her children. Why the reversal? Sharon Alfonsi gives you the inside story.
Hello. What was she thinking? Nearly 4 years after she drowned her 5 children one by one in the bathtub of their suburban Houston home, a new jury may try again to answer that question. Today's decision by a Texas appeals court means Andrea Yates could get a new trial.
She was surprised and not unpleased.
Yates' lawyers argued that prosecution expert Park Dietz, a well-known psychiatrist, lied on the stand.
Dietz testified that he consulted on an episode of the television show Law & Order about a woman who drowns her children and then is found not guilty by reason of insanity. Well, prosecutors heard that, and they jumped on it.
She watches Law & Order regularly. She sees this program.
Prosecutors argued Yates wasn't insane, but carrying out a carefully crafted plan inspired by the television show.
It was the only testimony from the prosecution side that suggested that Andrea Yates was not legally insane at the time of the killings.
The only problem, defense attorneys discovered after her conviction, that Law & Order episode never existed.
At the time, I did not know it was false.
Still, prosecutors say they will appeal the court's ruling. For now, even Yates' attorney says she should remain locked up.
She is in the very best possible place, all things considered.
Yates' husband, Rusty, recently filed for divorce. Her mother hopes Andrea will eventually be allowed to come home to her.
I mean, she grieves about it, but there's not much she can do. I mean, what's done is done.
5 children are dead, but the same question lingers. Was their fate an act of evil or illness? Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, Dallas.
Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa, revealed today that his eldest son, Mohato, has died of complications from AIDS. Mandela said he decided to go public because the South African government is still reluctant to admit the extent of the AIDS epidemic. Mohato, a lawyer, was 54. You're watching the CBS Evening News, and coming up next, what's with the weather? A massive winter storm hits large areas of the country. What it's doing and how long it's likely to hang around, straight ahead.
I do a lot of testing for my diabetes. And sure, there's pain, but you deal with it. These days, I'm dealing better. I switched to Freestyle Flash, and it's virtually pain-free. Virtually pain-free. Freestyle Flash uses the smallest sample of blood, 50 to 90% less than most meters. And Freestyle Flash is the world's smallest meter. If you have diabetes, you owe it to yourself to check out Freestyle Flash. It's virtually pain-free.
Introducing Mercury Montego, a dependable ride for the undependable forecast.
Millions of us are hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACS. The cause? For most, it was blood platelets that formed clots, which block blood from getting to the heart. Think aspirin and other heart medications alone are enough? Plavix could help make a difference. So ask your doctor about adding Plavix. Taken with aspirin and your current treatment, Plavix goes beyond what you're taking to help raise protection against heart attack or stroke. Plavix and your other medications work in different ways. Plavix taken with aspirin plays its own role in keeping blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, which helps keep blood flowing.
If you have a medical condition that causes bleeding, such as a stomach ulcer, you shouldn't use Plavix. The risk of bleeding may increase with Plavix and when you take Plavix with certain other medicines, including aspirin. Review your medicines with your doctor to minimize this risk. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur.
Add more protection against heart attack or stroke with Plavix.
Next time a cold wears you down, pick up Alka-Seltzer Plus. With a burst of effervescence, Alka-Seltzer Plus is instantly ready to break up your worst cold symptoms fast. So you're not just relieved, you feel revived. Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold.
Introducing new Fix-It-In Control. Its precision tip nozzle lets you put just the right amount, just where you want it. So no fruit is forbidden. New Fix-It-In Control. Life with more bite.
Nicole's credit card promised a rock-bottom fixed interest rate, so why did her rate shoot sky high in 1 month? A consumer alert tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Millions of Americans are dealing with some very nasty and dangerous weather tonight. Ice, snow, sleet, and high water. Winter storms that slashed across the country, killing at least 16 people from the Rockies to New England. Jim Axelrod reports on the storms and the stormy forecast.
There is no denying it makes a pretty picture.
It's a winter wonderland. Pretty neat.
But forget looking at it. Try living in it. Welcome to Ohio, where 250,000 people have no power after a nasty ice storm.
We've got hundreds of power lines down. Most of the roads are impassable. We got a mess.
Chicago's a mess, too. They've canceled 1,200 flights in the last 2 days at O'Hare.
I missed my connection by 5 minutes, so now I'm stuck here.
This storm has now moved east, washing a home down a ridge in Pittsburgh and blanketing a stretch from Philly to New England in snow and sleet, though it didn't keep this meter maid in Worcester from her appointed rounds.
I'm sorry, but someone has to do it, I suppose.
So it's January and it's sleeting. That's news? Actually, yes it is. Not the precipitation itself, but the weather system that's creating it.
I would call it unusual for the scope of the storminess across the nation and its intensity.
Take a mass of frigid air moving down from Canada, colliding with a bubble of unseasonably warm air over the southeast, add a series of storms from the west, and you've got wet weather nearly everywhere.
That front between the Arctic air and the almost summertime warmth really goes from coast to coast.
Which is why Southern California is drenched and parts of Texas that usually don't see snow got covered in it. The forecast will remain the same for much of America. This combination should stay put at least another week. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
A Michigan group campaigning against frivolous lawsuits says fear of being sued has produced some wacky warning labels. Here then, the winner of the group's wackiest warning label contest. It's the label on a toilet bowl brush that warns, "Do not use for personal hygiene." Second prize went to the label on a scooter warning, "This product moves when used." Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News. After the catastrophe in South Asia, many of the faithful are asking, why did it happen? Does religion have an answer? Stay with us.
I've guarded the same corner for years. The kids call me their guardian angel. When I got cancer and the chemo made me anemic and weak, I tried to keep working, but I just couldn't. Then, one day, I got this card. Mrs. Brady, come back soon. The new guy's a grump. I had to do something. I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. If you're on chemo and too tired to do the things you used to do, ask your doctor if Procrit is right for you. Procrit is proven to help rebuild red blood cells, which can mean more strength. Procrit is not for patients with uncontrolled high blood pressure and may increase the risk of blood clots. Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
I'm back, and there's no stopping me.
I'm so glad we ordered.
Hi, sorry.
Oh, hi. Want a bite?
No, thanks.
It looks great, but I'm thinking... I'll take that. No, maybe that.
Don't just watch calories with Special K. Get whole grain total and watch nutrition too. 100 calories plus 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals. 100 calories, 100% nutrition.
Married, 2 kids. Don't bother.
Sometimes seeing the need to protect yourself is obvious. But if you have diabetes, helping to protect your heart may not be obvious, even though you watch your diet. Diabetes puts you at high risk for heart attack and stroke, so talk to your doctor about ways to help protect your heart. The Heart Protection Study proves Zocor, along with diet, significantly reduced the risk of both heart attack and stroke in people with diabetes, including those with normal cholesterol and normal blood sugar. Zocor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Zocor may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting the serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. If you have diabetes, ask your doctor if Zocor can help protect you, and go to Zocor.com to get your free book. It's your future. Be there.
Coming up in just minutes on News Channel 5 at 6, what does the word parent mean to you? We'll tell you why the Tennessee Supreme Court could change the definition at 6.
Back now from Sri Lanka. It's still so hard, almost impossible to comprehend. So much death and destruction over such a wide area. How did this happen? Scientists have told us. But there's a much more difficult question, as CBS's Jim Stewart reports.
If talking to God is as easy as lighting a candle, then the Lord has been mighty busy this week, because from every corner, in every language, mourners for the tsunami dead seem to be asking the same question. Why, God? And no one is getting the same answer. In India, a leading Hindu priest explained that the disaster was caused by huge pent-up man-made evil on Earth and the positions of the planets. Israeli Chief Rabbi Shlomo Amar proclaimed the world is being punished for wrongdoing. Muslims, however, and more of them died than any other religion, have a different take.
It has nothing to do with God punishing evil. Otherwise, why God doesn't punish evil in other places?
We went to a Buddhist temple and asked why. The monk there explained that under his religion, the answer is just because.
This is how nature works. It is like a cycle. From time to time, these things happen. We never know where it happens.
It has happened before. In 1755, an earthquake set off fires that destroyed Lisbon, and then tsunamis that drowned most survivors. When the rest cried out, "Why, God?" priests roamed the streets, hanging whomever they felt had incurred the Lord's wrath. Episcopal Bishop John Bryson Chain of Washington believes to even ask why implies God is handpicking the victims.
You know, I don't see God as a puppeteer. God doesn't pull strings, and God doesn't choose who's going to live and die.
So therefore, the Lord is surely present among those who deliver comfort to the survivors, Chain argues, but is in no way responsible for what happened.
Yeah, when plates shift on this planet, plates shift on this planet. That's a geologic statement. It's not a theological statement. Stuff happens. Stuff happens.
Only how do you explain that to the parent of a dead child 10,000 times over? Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News from Galle, Sri Lanka. See you tomorrow. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on cbsnews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart, saving you and your family time and money with everyday low prices. On the ground in devastated Sri Lanka, Dan Rather reports tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
Metro Police are now stepping up their investigation into the mysterious death of a 6-month-old child.
And Titans quarterback Steve McNair had a little run-in off the field today.
This issue, it forces courts to really wrestle with some fundamental questions. In this case, who are the parents of these children?
Tonight, the Tennessee Supreme Court agrees to hear a landmark case that could change the definition of the word parent. The news is now.
From your news and information leader. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. It's one of the most unusual custody battles ever.
The father wants custody of his triplets, but their mother says no way. Now the Tennessee Supreme Court must decide. It's a landmark case that News Channel 5's Nick Barris found out may alter who and who cannot raise a child.
Cindy Culpepper adores her triplets.
They very much view me as a mother. You know, they call me mom, you know, like any 4-year-old would, and love me just the same. They don't know any other person as their mother.
But a challenge in court could take